What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Talk Show. My name is Joe Garcia. This week we're talking all things LAFC, LA Galaxy. But first thing, I want to wish a happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Hopefully, you had a special day yesterday. I unfortunately wasn't able to spend time with my mom, but I did call her. Did get able to speak with her for a long time. Wish her well. Got her. Me and my brother ended up getting an awesome purse that she wanted. So I had to make sure mom was happy. What about you, Alex? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and yeah, for Mother's Day, we got my mom flowers, handwritten letter and stuff. We made her dinner and stuff, so that was pretty nice.
What
I
would
think
what
she
you guys
enjoyed that.
make?
Yeah, so me and my brother decided I guess, to cook steak for my mom and stuff. So we made some steak, fries, and rice. So it came out pretty nice.
Okay, Alex, I see you
Yeah,
cooking steak.
yeah,
Adding more weapons to your arsenal. You go to IKEA now. You cooking steak.
yeah. I mean, I've been doing it for a bit. It's okay. Like, I think my brother's better when it comes to like getting a better flavor out of the steak, but like I know how to like cook it
How
medium
okay?
rare and stuff
How
like
does
that and like grill
Alex?
it better because he can like do it like on the stove pretty good, but like I can like grill the steak better, like
It
over
always
like gas or
tastes.
like charcoal, whatever it may be. I just like grill a steak better, like
It
that I can
always
definitively say I do well at.
it always tastes better when it's grilled.
Oh yeah,
For
for sure.
So how do you prepare it? Medium rare? Hopefully not well done, but I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to ask.
Well, I mean, you do the little finger trick where you kind of just see
The
how
finger
like hard,
trick.
or yeah,
What's the
yeah, or
finger
like
trick
you basically like put your hand on here, and if it's like
on your palm?
yeah, on your palm, and then it like helps you figure out like you touch it, and then you like feel how the meat is, and I'll let you know like if it's medium rare, if it's getting closer to well done,
So
whatever.
hold
So,
on, I'm
so
confused.
if
You
you like
touch the
put
meat like that, or how's it?
no, 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 like you kind of like sense it, right? How like squishy it is, I guess I would say. The closer it is, like from like if you're using your middle finger, right? It's a little bit more harder on the palm, so that means it's like getting approaching to well done. And then the
But
closer
how
you
do
are
you
to
do it
your
on the steak though? How?
no, you use your tools to not like poke at the steak, but like feel it and see like how it's getting closer at it.
Well, hey, that's an interesting way. So the way I typically do it, I do like 5 minutes on one side and then 5 minutes on the other side. But hey, I'll have to try to. I have to. You have to send me a video next time so I see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you do
It's
it on the
because
process.
I'll do that when I'm like cooking like on like charcoal or something because if it's like gas, like you can easily like control it and see how like the temperature of the meat is. But with charcoal, you kind of have to be a little bit more no, not careful, but you gotta like pay attention to the small details and see how the meat's going because
Yeah, because
if
you're
you're
gonna
doing
get
like
it
5 minutes
burnt.
here or there, it might take a little longer, it might take a little less.
Nah, I got it down to the science. But hey, look, when you go cook with Alex show, I'll be definitely be tuning in because that's a very interesting way of cooking a steak. But no, look, hopefully like I said, hopefully everybody had a great time with the family and everything. It's a special weekend, to spend time with the family and do all that. But yeah, look, the Galaxy got a big win on the road in Austin. It was an ugly win, but they got the 3 points. I mean, that's a positive. They walked out of there with 3 points. I think they're back up to third place, which is pretty good. But what did you think of this game, Alex?
It was definitely sloppy to watch, to say that. Neither team was really comfortable in possession for the entire 90 minutes. And, there were some bad giveaways here and there by the Galaxy, bad giveaways by Austin. I mean, Austin later in the second half we're getting pressure on the Galaxy back line, but the defense was holding up. Austin really didn't have many clear-cut chances where you can say they could have leveled the game here. So the props to the Galaxy defense for doing amazing. But at the same time, you really want to see cleaner possessions by the Galaxy when it comes to the attack. It felt like a lot of times they were really trying to rush it, where you'd see like defenders or like some of the fullbacks just trying to float the ball over to one of the wingers or to whoever was in the middle as that number 10 on the day. You kind of felt that they were trying to accelerate that process, and luckily Mark Delgado's like goal from 35 yards out was like incredible. I mean, I wasn't expecting that. It literally came out of nowhere. So it was definitely an experience for all the Galaxy fans watching, because I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card for this game. But yeah, this game was sloppy. You can tell the Galaxy still need a little bit more work on the possessions. Alvarez, Cabral, Costa didn't really produce much for the 60, 70 minutes they played in. So it was really frustrating on that front. But defensively, you can say they played well. Derek Williams, Sega Koulibaly did well as a center backs, and Raheem Edwards did well. Julian Rajo did well. I mean, even Chase Gasper came in. He was acquired
Mhm.
on Wednesday by the Galaxy. Put in a decent shift for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, I thought that was interesting. I think defensively, they had it there. Probably one of the best defensive stands that they had that the Galaxy have had. But offensively, I was just really it was just really tough to watch the Galaxy play because it just nothing was sensing. I mean, outside of the first 20 minutes, the first half, that's when I had the possession. I had him on the on Austin FC side. But yeah, like this team still look. I want to give them kudos to them because they got a tough win in a tough place, and they also gave Austin FC, I believe, is their first loss at home, which is a pretty big deal. But I just felt like some goals left on the table. You know, there's Chicharito had one. But I, you know, I can live with that though. If Chicharito misses that, like he 9 out of 10 times he's gonna make that, but you can live with that. You know, I thought there was just more opportunities where they could have scored more, and it was just unfortunate that they didn't. And I think I don't know if you were paying it if you saw in the broadcast when they asked Greg Vanny that they had asked him about what he was thinking about his team so far during the performance. He's like at times we're playing they're playing the ball when the guys aren't ready yet, and you kind of saw a lot of that. And I think when you do that, they're just they're just not in sync as you would expect them to be 19 games in. But look, they buckled down and they got the win, which is the most important thing. But there's a lot of areas that you would like to see be cleaned up or be more improved. And you mentioned one or two, a few of those things. The DP and Douglas Costa not being able to go full 90 minutes. Kevin Cabral, same another below average performance. He played a lot, but he did have that one cross. But outside of that one cross, we really didn't see much. So I mean, a lot again. But look, you got to give him props. 3 points there. But yeah, let's talk about Mark Delgado and his goal because I thought that was impressive. I did not know he had that type of range. So let's look at it and I'll get your thoughts on this one.
Gives it right back into the middle to Mark Delgado. His shot is off the inside of the post for a goal. Mark Delgado, first goal for the LA Galaxy, has stunned Q2 Stadium in the 6th minute.
What a hit. What a hit from Mark Delgado here. And Ethan Finley had done a good job defensively here on Douglas Costa. And then turns, and this is just a poor clearance right back into the middle of the field, straight to Delgado, who, by the way, is still about 35 yards out here as he hits this one. What a terrific hit from distance. And Tarbell sees it. Does it take a slight deflection as it comes through? I'm not sure.
Look, like I said, absolute rocket. I did not expect that, but look, you want to have a player that's been doing such a great job in the midfield, at least the defensive side. Now he adds that. I felt like he had a pretty good game. That's the goal that won him the game. I thought there was, like I said earlier, there's still more goals in this game left that were left on the table. But when you see that, you see the type of performance Mark Delgado had in this game, and you see that he's the one that won him this game. What are your thoughts on him particularly?
I mean, he's been an incredible addition so far throughout the season. I mean, when Jonathan Dos Santos left, it was going to be a big task this offseason to find out who was going to be the guy to replace him and would he be the right fit, because not a lot of players are the right fits for certain systems. But Delgado obviously fits Greg Vanny's system. They've played together in Toronto for a couple of years. So it was kind of an easy, kind of piece to put into this puzzle of what this LA Galaxy team is. And he's done great playing as an 8 next to Ravelis, and they've both covered lots of ground. They've helped the center backs tremendously and relieved a lot of pressure and duties off of them. And, here you have Delgado scoring from 35 yards out, which I didn't even know Delgado had that in his locker. So pretty impressive. And, there's going to be a lot said about, how Ravelis and Delgado really don't contribute much to the attack when it comes to, I guess, them making those bombing forward runs or them making that clinical pass that, goes through the back line of the opposition. But both of them are capable of goals like this. Ravelis and Delgado, both capable of goals from long range, both capable of headers, both capable of really being able to be efficient number 8s in the system. And, I think that's really what's making this Galaxy team consistent so far, because Delgado has been a consistent player. He's not going to score goals, but he's going to cover ground. He's going to be in the right place at the right time. He's going to be able to mark his man, press his man well, and be able to get this Galaxy team the ball back. And I think that, needs to be talked about more because a lot of the focus will be on the defense is doing good, the attack's not doing good. But the reason this team is, getting points and, not letting these silly chances or silly goals come at them is because of how solid this midfield has been so far.
Yeah, look, you make a great point, especially on on the defensive side. Like we've seen that from Revelson, but we haven't seen that from Mark DeGarlo, and it's good to see that from him. And also, what I would also say is just like when you add those weapons to your arsenal, it makes you more of a valuable player. One thing that I will say, I think what is interesting about this Galaxy team, I still look even before the season started. There's questions about them defensively. This is probably one of their better, like I said, one of their better defensive games, which was really pretty good. And one of the guys that had a pretty good game was Sega Koulibaly. Luis Martinez, he said Sega's a beast. And I would agree with that. I felt like he had probably one of the most important games of his Galaxy career over the weekend, regardless of the offensive thing that we'll get into. But uh, him having, I think you guys ended up posting like a post about him having like a slide tackle, which was pretty insane. And I just want to see that because I feel like he pretty much was able to say, either he was able to keep the Galaxy within the game because I felt like the NFC was about to score regardless. Within a couple of minutes, and here's a play if you guys can see that. He slides, and I think it's a Derusi or what's
Yeah,
that guy's
that's
name
on
for?
the current MVP favorite in this early season, Sebastian Driussi. And this is a bad giveaway by the Galaxy. I mean, they were sloppy for most of the game. And, Koulibaly just times this tackle onto the floor perfectly, clears the ball away from danger. I mean, you had another Austin attacker running forward, and they had leverage on Julian Araujo. So if, Driussi goes through and is able to make that pass, I mean, Austin have a good chance to equalize this game. And again, Koulibaly's just been so consistent so far as of late. He's been a real solid player, even in possession. He's been solid. Like before, there were times where you didn't really want Sega on the ball because it felt like he was going to give it away or the attacker was going to be able to, win it back or whatever. But he looks calm in possession. He looks strong out there. That's his biggest trait, that he's a strong physical defender. And you see that with him in these last couple of games. He's shown that he's been quality at the back line. And, he's had a really good season so far. I mean, he really building up into the season. He scored the game-winning goal against LAFC for the Galaxy, and then now he's just being a rock next to Derek Williams. And I think this is what Greg Vanney envisioned, like a year and a half ago when he first took this job, of two center backs who both have different skill sets but can work well together, and they just complement each other very well. And I think Koulibaly and Williams do so perfectly. And I think this is exactly what Greg Vanney envisioned when he wanted Williams and Koulibaly for this club.
Yeah, and I look, I think another season in the league that also obviously that also helps, and another thing, getting adjusted to his teammates and all that. So I think when he has a game like this, it's just you expect this for him to have these type of games all the way throughout. I think the one only knock that I would have on the Galaxy defensively, um, is playing out the back. I think they really struggled playing off the. They've struggled all year trying to play off the back. For whatever reason, they've been able to continue with that, but unfortunately they weren't able. They didn't get punished for that. Austin FC had a couple opportunities. They also played a sloppy game. The whole thing in general was just a sloppy game, but I think that's one thing. Playing out the back, they got to be a little bit more cleaner because they've definitely struggled this season. I don't know how they do that with this team because there's just I feel like this team is really missing a number 10. They're missing a number 10, and they were missing a number 10 even before the season started, which I think was clear. And to get into it, Douglas Costa right now, I thought he was going to be playing the number 10 role, but he's playing a winger role. He's playing on the left hand side. And Efrain Alvarez is supposed to be the number 10. He's pretty much given the keys to play that number 10 role, but he just disappears for whatever reason. And he doesn't sometimes give the cushion in that midfield. Sometimes you'll see Chicharito come in that midfield and give that cushion to the defense when it should be Efrain Alvarez. We've seen Victor Vasquez do it, right? But he's injured. But I just feel like them. I just feel like they can only go so far without offensive threat that is able to handle the midfield. Because if this was any other team, or if Austin, I say often if he didn't have a sloppy game, they might have been punished a couple more times. I don't know, Alex. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, definitely their creative force and Victor Vasquez being gone for the last couple of games has been huge for this team. I mean, they really haven't been able to create. I think they've only scored, if I'm correct, 3 goals in the past 4 games. So definitely the offensive output has been really low. I mean, at the same time, I think that a lot of the players we talked about, right? Douglas Costa, I mean, he's played on the wings his entire career at Bayern, at Juventus, at Shakhtar Donetsk, even at Gremio at times he was playing out wide. And, I think he's going to come in on the inside a lot, during games, but that won't be his primary position. I mean, Greg Vanney has talked about how he like to experiment and see how the game's going before he does the adjustments of pushing Costa more into the middle or pushing Efrain more in the middle. I mean, Efra didn't really have a good game, but I mean, props to Austin for game planning correctly. That he had literally no space to do anything, and Efrain Alvarez is an extremely dangerous player in space. I mean, you know what he's capable to do with his left foot, both shooting and passing the ball. But Austin did a good job of marking him. They did a good job of taking him out completely out of the game. He, no disrespect, but he was completely like ghosted out there. He didn't do anything. He had very little touches on the ball, and even when he did get a touch, it was very quick. No long sprints of possession where he just held onto the ball and tried to create something. It was just 1-2 passing here and there just to try to get the space, because Austin were doing a good job marking him and taking out of the game. And again, this is going to come down to, what happens in the summer transfer window, because we're assuming right now the Galaxy have a max TAM spot. So they're able to go out and, sign somebody for around $1.45 million for the rest of the season. So there is still a possibility they can pick somebody up. There's some good free agents out there that are going to be free agents in the summer. You have Isco, Juan Mata, those 2 names, Spanish names, come to mind as players who can fill that number 10 void and be able to be that creative force the Galaxy has been lacking. So, I mean, right now, Greg Vanney is going to try to figure out a way to get Alvarez, Costa, and Cabral to really complement one each other and be able to work together. Because, again, as much as Victor Vasquez has been good in the last couple of years, he's not the long-term solution. I don't think Greg Vanney would. It would be wise. I don't think it would be wise for him to plan Vasquez as the current solution now when he's at the latter stage of his career, and this likely could be his last season, playing soccer. So I think that right now, if you're Greg Vanney, you're doing great on the defensive end, you're doing great on the midfield end. It's just try to figure out that 3 behind Chicharito, who are supposed to be those creators who really can't create anything or really create much service to Chicharito at times. So it's going to be more about how do you complement Alvarez and Costa playing together? What's the best, formation to put them together? What's the best way to tactically adjust them to be able to be more creative forces and give more freedom? Because Costa and Alvarez are players that need space to be effective. And when they don't have it, they're completely like out of the picture and they're not a factor in any of the games they play. So it's going to be up to Greg Vanney and this coaching staff to figure out how do we get these guys to do well? How do we get these guys to be productive? Because they've spent money in the attacking part of the pitch, and so far you'd expect them to be able to be a good attacking team, but so far they haven't been able to create anything at all.
Yeah, look, I agree with what you're saying, but I would also add that, look, if Victor Vasquez was playing this game, I'm with you. I don't think Victor Vasquez is the long term solution. I think he's more of a second half sub, long term. But I just feel like a player like Victor Vasquez would have identified like, hey, I need to be in the middle, and I think that's what Efrain is missing. Like, it's like he should have known that he should have given more release to the defense and been in that midfield and being able to, even if they're marking you tight, just 1-2 touches, this and that, just to free up the defense. And I just don't think he has it for whatever reason to see how, like, he is so talented, he's so talented, like, technically he's gifted, but like he doesn't put himself in those positions to help his team where he fits. And whether he just doesn't feel comfortable or whatever it is, he has the opportunities. He's starting, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the move of him, but it's like this is like his opportunity just to be producing, giving the passes to Chicharito, Douglas Costa, and all these different things. But yeah, if I'm the Galaxy, you got to be looking for a number 10, yeah, on this season. I just don't know what other you can't. I don't know. A number 10 has to be the player you bring in, a number 10 type of player, that Cam or whatever, because that's literally what they're missing. And you don't want a youngster. You want someone that's has had experience, regardless of wherever, and doesn't have injury experience either as well. You want someone solid. But with that, let's talk about Kevin Cabral and Douglas Costa. Look, they played about 60. I don't know. I don't have the numbers in front of me. 60 to 65 minutes, if that. But these two are DPs. These two are DPs that Greg Vandy brought. These two are DPs that everybody expected high things from them, especially Kevin Cabral. Douglas Costa, I'm still want to give him more time, but look, he's been a superstar type of player playing in all these different, big European leagues, and so far I've not been impressed with Douglas Costa, and that's in its 10 games in. Well, I don't. He's only Kevin Cabral has had no goals and no assists, right? We're talking MLS. We're not talking Open Cup, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean, both
Douglas Costa has
Costa and Cabral
they've
combined,
called
they just have one
only have
goal,
one
and that
goal.
was like
Yeah,
a deflected goal. So I mean, it's kind of like they really haven't done anything, for being honest, in open play. That we can agree on. The goals that Douglas Costa scored was off a set piece, and he got lucky. There was a deflection, but yeah, it's definitely concerning that there really isn't anything there. There hasn't been a moment you can say where these guys have like had solid games, or they've looked comfortable, or they've looked like in a rhythm with this team. And that's a real big concern. I mean, with Kevin Cabral, I'll start with him first. I mean, he should have had an assist. Let's be honest. Chicharito just should have scored that and should have had an assist. He was the better of the attacking players out there, but I mean that doesn't really say a lot if we're being honest with how this team played and with the context behind it. And then Douglas Costa, I mean, he just looks. I mean, he's still trying to get into shape, still trying to, I guess, adapt to this league because MLS is a hard league to adapt in. I mean, it's way more different than Europe and definitely than South America, I think, in my opinion. So I think there's still a little bit of that needing to learn and being able to see what's going on. And again, that leash is getting shorter by the day, and I'm not gonna be making that excuse for Costa
yeah. Look, I was gonna
by
say
match day
he's
28 or 29.
a superstar type player. Like I don't need him to be scoring like golden boot type of goals, but it's like assists. Like he has not had a performance where it's like okay, bam. Maybe in the beginning of the season, but like 10 games in, he's if he it's not just that, but it's also not being able to go 90 minutes. That's the other thing. Like if you're able to, you can't, like Douglas Costa can't even give you 90 minutes right now, which is crazy to say for a DP player, designated player. I think that is the most mind-boggling thing for both of these DP players, Kevin Cabral, and I don't want to bash on them on getting these 3 points, because that's I want to stay positive here on the Galaxy getting these 3 points against Austin FC. But it's just when it's just a sloppy game and they get by, they get the 3 points. It's just tough to see these players. And maybe this Wednesday, because look, the schedule's getting more and more congested with Open Cup on Wednesday. Cal Strikers,
Yeah, Cal United
um, and
Strikers
then they
on
and then
Wednesday.
they play FC Dallas. So look, there's gonna be a lot of games coming up hand, but I just so far it does not look good. But look, they're still in third place, but I just feel like they could be doing more. They could just be doing a little bit more. And I don't know if you saw the pregame, but Alexi Lala said something about like the Galaxy team being boring to watch, and and I think he has. I don't know. I think I kind of agree with him on that. Like what I'm saying, like they're not. As long as they're winning, it's cool. It makes sense and everything like that. But it's not. They don't have this team doesn't have that wow factor that it once did. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't have it for whatever reason. Maybe they can get it back during the season, but that wow factor is just not there. And we've talked about this. If they didn't get to win this game, it would have been now 4 games that were just tough to watch. Just tough to watch as a fan, just tough to watch as someone in the media. And I look, I'm glad I got the 3 points, but it wasn't something that I'm like, okay, we go on to Wednesday and then having another game against FC Dallas on Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, whenever it is. I think thing is, is gonna, the boycott's gonna have to stop and something's gonna gotta give.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the last couple of games are going to be hard to watch when you have 3 teams that are, going to, park the bus and not really go forward. And I mean, in this game, the Galaxy, I think, the one thing that's really lacking from them is they just really don't have a consistent tempo when it comes to their build-up play. Like it seems at times, like, yeah, you see them, they're sluggish, they're slow, and at times they can be quick. And these 1-2 passing things can really open up space for other players, but it's very inconsistent. You don't see it throughout 90 minutes. And I think that's the thing that's been missing with this Galaxy team, like the entire year, is that they're kind of just now consistent when it comes to how they operate in space. It feels like, you're asking Kevin Cabral to play off the shoulder of the last defender and, cut inside and be dangerous. And other times you're telling him to kind of just go out wide and try to,
Mm-hmm.
exploit the space yourself. So it's a very inconsistent play styles at times and during the games. And I think that's what's kind of caused this team to, I guess, be boring, because you kind of expect the same things, or you expect the tendencies of some of the players already, where you're like, okay, Douglas Costa is going to be wide. Okay, at around the midway point of the game, he's going to be more in the middle, more inside. You're going to see Efrain Alvarez kind of push out wide a little bit more and things like that. So I think that's, I guess, what's kind of caused, I guess, like a viewer fatigue, if you were to say, for a lot of like the people who watch the Galaxy, where you're like, yeah, this really isn't nothing too impressive, but at the same time, this team just has the same tendencies over and over again. And that's why, if you're consistently watching the Galaxy, I guess you can say it's been kind of boring, because you've seen these things game in and game out. So I think that's my only thing or assessment when it comes to, when people say the Galaxy are boring. I'm just like, yeah, they do the same thing, for every single game.
I think you're being nice, but that's one point in there, Alex. That's just what I noticed from Alexi Lawless, and that's what I've been kind of feeling. But by no means do I feel like this Galaxy can go deep. It's just not there right now. But I'm glad they got the big 3 points, and I want to see how they carry this forward. Let's talk about the Open Cup. Well, Christian, I want to get to the point. It was 100-degree weather, tough game, but big win. Weather has a big factor to do with it as well. I'm just saying their play style has been very sluggish to watch these last 4 games, regardless of the weather. Um, and then Christian brings up another point. He says LA Galaxy is a scary team, very inconsistent, but once they get going, watch out. They have played tough opponents on the road. This they have. And then Tony says, "Happy belated Mother's Day to all the LA soccer fam." Let's talk about the Open Cup. Big game this Wednesday. It's on the road in Orange County. What are your thoughts on the Open Cup? Because it's a big game, right? But there's gonna have to be some rotating for these guys, because I believe that if they win, do they get the winner of LAFC versus the Timbers? Is that how it works?
I don't know. I think they go to another draw, because
Oh,
then
another draw. Okay.
you have Seattle and San Jose playing in this, I guess, region. I guess that's how they're separating.
Oh, okay.
And then they're having Sacramento Republic and Oakland Roots playing. So then they're gonna have another draw and figure out who's gonna play who. So
Okay.
there's no you
Cool.
won't have a direct passage of who you're going to play next. It's just gonna be like, oh, who you're gonna be placed in the draw with.
Makes sense. Makes sense. So big game on Wednesday, and then it's another game. Is it at home? I believe. No, it's
Yeah,
on the
they're gonna
road.
be at home
At home
against Dallas this Saturday.
against Dallas this Saturday. So two games coming up. What are your thoughts on the U.S. Open Cup and then FC Dallas?
Okay, so first on the Open Cup, I mean, this is a game on paper where the Galaxy should win. I mean, they're the superior team. No disrespect to United Strikers, but they are the superior team. Even their second team is really good by the LA Galaxy, and this is kind of a game where you want to avoid it from being a trap game, where you want to still be serious in your preparation. You still want to, go at it. You're gonna be playing in a stadium that has a capacity of, I think, maybe like 3,000 people at most. So you want to do your best in this game. You want to be able to put your front foot forward in this game. Against San Diego, they scrapped by with just a 1-0 result. So you want this game to, I guess, be in your favor. You want it to not be one of those games where it's tense in the 60th minute, no team scored a goal, and then all of a sudden Cal United just score something and you have to, all the pressure's on you. You don't want that situation to happen. And I'm pretty sure Greg Vanney's preaching to the team, hey, don't underestimate this team. Keep being professionals. Keep trying to win every single ball and keep trying to, accumulate goals and put balls in the back of the net. And for the game against Dallas, I'm actually really looking forward to that game. I think it's going to be lots of fun to watch. I'm a big believer in what Dallas is doing in Texas. Areola, Ferreira, I think they're a good combo, even including Alan Velasco, the 19-year-old that they brought from Argentina. That front three is really good and has good potential in this league. And they're doing a lot of things right. They're playing a 4-3-3, so they're going to be a good attacking team. There's going to be spaces in this game, that I can say, and it's going to be interesting. If Victor Vasquez comes back, in this game against Dallas in the weekend, I think he'll be a huge factor if he starts this game, because Dallas defensively, their wing backs really aren't great defensively. And I think players like Costa, like Cabral or Alvarez kind of have to be able to put the front foot and be able to, I guess, take a leap forward and help this Galaxy offense really get some goals. I mean, you're playing at home. The game will likely be the 5th consecutive sellout of the season so far. So this is going to be a big test for the Galaxy. I think Dallas are a legit team. I mean, Dallas are tied with the Galaxy actually in least amount of goals allowed so far in this MLS season. So it's going to be a test of two defenses. You're just going to have to see which team's going to blink first.
Yeah, look, and I'm excited for this game as well because I really like what Dallas is doing, and they're also tied with points. These teams are tied for points. The winner to get ahead of the other one. Obviously, if they get the win, and yeah, look, I love what FC Dallas been doing with the youngsters and everything. So now I like that they're investing in the first team. So we see the standings there. Obviously, LAFC is right there in first place with 23 points, but the Galaxy in third place with 19 points. FC Dallas also in fourth place with 19 points. So they're pretty much tied. This game obviously means a lot. But you can also look, you're the LA Galaxy. You don't want to be in third place. You want to be up. You want to be higher, right? You got LAFC. You want to be Austin, up there. But you can't look at you can't look past the people that are right next to you. And I'm with you. I think this FC Dallas game is really going to be exciting. And there's just so many things that this game has that I want to see. There's a lot of youth. There's a lot of excitement with these upcoming games so far. But yeah, with that said, Alex, I think that's all the time we have. Any final words? Are you going to be at the game this weekend?
I don't think so this weekend. Not this weekend. I'm kind of busy, so probably won't
No
be able
worries,
to
no worries. Hey,
go.
if you guys missed out, Alex is just started his cooking show, Cooking with Alex on YouTube. So showing you how to cook some steak. But yeah, look, everybody that tuned in, I appreciate you guys. We're gonna switch things over. So about a minute or so. And we are back talking LAFC, black and gold. They got a big old tie against Philadelphia Union. Lot of things happened with the black and gold with this tie. It was the battle of first place Philadelphia Union, first place LAFC. It was a really big game, really exciting. The bank was rocking, but we have JP jumping on with us. JP, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. Well, first of all, how'd you enjoy Mother's Day? How'd you spend Mother's Day with your mom?
It was good. I had a tournament in San Diego, so we had to drive up in the morning, but we had a nice dinner in the afternoon. So Sunday was good, and then we got to celebrate, Latinos Mother Day on Tuesday. So
Yeah,
looking
and
forward to that.
we get it double. We have to do it double.
Yeah,
That's how we do in our household. I mean, you got to make sure you celebrate. You got to do the Mexican one and then the American one. So I'm like, all right, as mom, so you got to do it.
yep. Double the gifts for them.
Yeah. What tournament for your team?
Yeah, so we had an invitation, or the UC San Diego Invitational, and we won it. So that was fun to finish the season off with a trophy. Now it's finals week, so got to work on that, and then Mother's Day on Tuesday. So a lot of things coming up.
Dang, look at you. Hey, JP coming to a park near you. Hey, with all these trophies and stuff.
Watch
It's
out,
good.
watch
People,
out.
you're the real deal, man. You play consistently. I've been playing consistently as well. But I tweaked my ankle. I twisted my ankle, and I was like, all right, that I almost got purple, but it didn't. So I was like, you know what? I think that may be it for me for a little bit because I got too many things going on just to twist my ankle just like that. But look, I always like playing. I know I'm invited. We've played together, but I've invited you. But I know you're busy over here winning the big boy tournaments and stuff and whatnot. You're just playing with the just the local talent, which I prefer and I don't mind.
Yeah, I I have the opportunity to play with the school second team, so I'll play with them for now. But the summer we'll definitely play together again because I won't have school, so I'll be looking at the parks.
Yeah, we'll do. Hey, I'm there. I'll be at the local park, so I'll be there. Waiting for you. But let's talk about this LAFC team. Tough game. I would say they were down once again. But what were your thoughts on this game?
I think it was what Dolo how Dolo was going to approach it. Knowing that Portland is coming on Tuesday and Portland is never an easy team, but regardless, you have to respect the Union. They're first in the East, but you also want to stay first in the West and lead early on in the season for the Supporter Shield race. I think it was a good team. It was your
Oh, did we lose you? I think we might have lost you. JP, I think he kind of broke up a little bit, but yeah, look, I thought it was an impressive
is
game
I
from
guess
LAFC. Oh, there you go. Sorry, you kind of cut off a little bit. Go ahead.
we both for me it was both of us,
Oh,
but
it was both of us. Oh,
yeah.
let's do it.
So yeah, I mean it was a good game. It was Dolo presented their A team for the Union, and obviously they go down early, which is I guess a theme now with this LAFC team. But they came back into it, which we'll get into right now.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that we're learning about this LAFC team. They do not quit. They keep it going, and I think that's one thing you like to see, and I think that's what or a lot of people can really admire of this LAFC team that they can keep it going, even being down. They were down against what the Timbers at home. They got that tie. Now they were down against Philadelphia. So they've had a lot of come from behind victories or ties. Obviously, this ended up in a tie, but I've liked that they've continued to fight and play, throughout, and they still get you still get they got the final minute game winning or game tying goal from Escobar. But let's talk about Mahalas. He had an amazing goal to give LAFC the first goal lead. So let's go ahead and play it.
Player and more to come, I'm sure. Sifu Mahala! Yes! They found some space.
So talk to me about Mahala because that was just like I believe 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes into the second half. He ties the game. He's had a spectacular season. He's done so much for this LAFC team. It's probably been a couple games maybe that he hasn't been as effective, but this game obviously he could have had one I think in the first half too. It bounced off the keeper off the goalpost, but another solid performance from Mahala.
Yeah, I mean Wahala is a player that LAFC were very high on. Getting him from Ghana at a very young age straight to the team. Obviously, they gave him up some minutes at the lights, which obviously he got injured last season. With But this season we saw it at preseason. We were at the preseason game and we both saw him and saw the hunger he had when he was on the ball. He wanted to get goals. He wanted to be dangerous. He wanted all the 1v1s, and you can see that this season. He got the opportunity to start with Chicho being out, and now Brian gets injured. So and Ismail are injured, so it's up to him. Chicho's back and Bella to be the top three up front. But every opportunity he gets, he does the best for it. Yeah, you mentioned it. Some games he's not the sharpest and he gets subbed off. But this game, he was on fire. He did what he had to do. And it was just a powerful strike. Andre Blake did not expect him to go that hard in the center. You see him, shift over to the second post, but it was a dart. Initially I thought it was a deflection, but no, it was all Mahala. It was a great strike. And that's what you have to do as a young guy with these minutes and these opportunities. Dolo's giving you, make a name for yourself at a young age, and cement yourself in the starting lineup, and maybe develop to go to Europe. But for right now, LAFC is using him, and they're reaping the benefits.
Yeah, look, that Mahal is one of my favorite players just to watch because of his effort and what he does for this team, and how he plays, and he has a motor. He just has a motor, He never stops, and and every time he celebrates a goal, he celebrates it like it's his first goal, and you like to see the motion of him. That's what's really exciting about him. What did you think about Carlos Vela and Chicho in this game?
Uh, Vela wasn't, I guess, as influential as you would have liked, but he did get touches on the ball. Chicho, I guess, saw more of the ball. A lot of more went through him, but they don't always need to be on the score sheet. In the first goal, Chicho's the one that gets it on the wing, cuts in, and plays Sifu. So they're, and then Vela stays on the wing and keeps the defender out open. So regardless, they're gonna keep open spaces if they're not the ones, shooting it or giving the assist. They're gonna open up spaces for Mahala, for a Sifu, for the rest of the team that has really stepped up and scored goals. Chicho has his goals, Vela has his goals. They're gonna get their moments, they're gonna get their touches. But yeah, obviously you want them to be a bit more impactful and a bit more influential. But sometimes, the games don't always have to go through them, and it's a team effort for the most part.
Yeah, no, and I like what I like what they have so many weapons. They have so many players that can do so many different things for this team, and and that's what we come accustomed for this team. That every man that steps up or gets some minutes can have that special moment for this LAFC team. And you're right, it doesn't always have to be Carlos Vela. It doesn't always have to be Chicho. As long as they're getting those positive results, even though a tie is not what you want to see, especially being at home. I just felt like how they came from behind. Have they been able to come from behind and everything like that? It was a tough game for them, but I feel like, even though they could have had opportunities to score more, a tie is a fair result. Obviously, like I said, you want to get the win, but a tie is a fair result. You definitely don't want to be losing, but they're leading the league right now in points. The first team, so that's pretty good. And they still, if they want to add more pieces, they still got an open DP spot, and be able to move around a couple pieces. But when we look at this team, I want to talk about Escobar, because he was able to score. He's now the 13th player to score for this team, which is a crazy thing to say. So let's watch the goal and then we'll talk about him.
Oh, Sifu! Second effort! It's tied again! Another first-time goal scorer! It's Franco Escobar!
So, like you hear there, Max, another first-time goal scorer, and it typically every time a first-time player or a first-time goal scorer happens on this team, it's a pretty big goal. It's not just like a random goal. And another thing to that, it was also a set piece goal. LAFC have been so good, so effective on set pieces, and a lot of these first-time players are getting these goals from the set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, it was a credit to Escobar not letting the play die, because if you see, the guy that's marking him just stays standing after Andre Blake, commits that save. Mamadou Fall, again, always is going to win these balls in the air, but it gets blocked by Blake, who's a great keeper. But Escobar beats his man, and gets to the ball and puts it in the back of the net. A guy who went down early against Portland in the second game of the season, who's finally coming back, who, so I guess to me and you, and during preseason, was the original starter at right back. That's who I had starting at right back for the strongest team LAFC could have put out. And he's getting his minutes back. He's getting his rhythm back, and a goal is definitely going to help him boost his confidence again, and make a name for himself, because everybody's stepping up. It's a next man up mentality for this LAFC team, because this is how deep it is and how much talent they have on the bench and in the starting 11. And yeah, I mean, Philly really sat back. LAFC was going to have most of the chances, but uh, for the Philadelphia Union, not an easy team to break down. So being able to get the tie, and stay up first in the whole supporter shield race is only going to make this team grow in confidence.
Yeah, and what I really like is they're emphasizing so much effort, especially if you're a defensive player on this LAFC team, you got to know that you're going to get an opportunity to score, especially on set pieces or just midfield, because there's just so much opportunity there, and we've seen it. Ryan Hollinghead, obviously, Mamadou Fall, which with well him is with his height vertically what he can do in the air, right? But also just Holland, like I said, Holland said, there's so many different players that get this opportunity, get this chance to score, and I think this is where you could help your team a little bit more, and they certainly have, and I like that set pieces are a thing where other teams have to be careful when it comes to LAFC, because this is where LAFC can really hurt you. And you know, back I remember a couple years ago or last year, set pieces was one of the worst things LAFC was good at. You know, they were good at conceiving the goals in set pieces, but now we're seeing them flip the switch and be able to score on that aspect, and I think that's a very impressive thing to see. Another thing is also Chiqui Palacios. He's been doing pretty good. He's had a couple solid back to back games. What were your thoughts on him?
I mean, he's just been one of the best defenders consistently this season for LAFC. He hasn't really been able to get on the score sheet, maybe not rack up all the assists, but his placement, his defensive awareness, his heart. They gave him the captain's band against Orange County for a reason. A lot of people didn't expect that, but you see all the work he's putting in, the form he's showing this season. It's a good jump that nobody really expected from him. We all knew he was going to be good. He was going to be solid. He was going to be in that competition for the starting left back spot. But he's really cemented himself as a starting left back for potentially the rest of the season. Really, shifting Ryan, to compete for that right back spot, because he's just been solid all around. His whole game has been solid. Dolo highlighted him as one of the best players, best fullbacks in this league, because he's just been on fire.
Yeah, and I like that. He's been having back to back solid games. I just feel like sometimes he could be a little bit better with his passing. But look, he had a solid game. He's improving by time. And look, yeah, you have a defensive minded coach that's assisting, in the defensive end. Even when you play a tough team like Philadelphia Union, I feel like these two teams always have, like, I think the last time they played, they had a 3-3 game or something like that. They always have a lot. It's always a high scoring game when it comes to the Union versus LAFC. No matter what, you can always expect goals, but especially when a team's first in their division and you're first, sometimes you're going to have to give up a couple of these goals, and that's what happened in this game. But they never put their head down, and I think that's one thing that you'd like to see. Even if they go down, they fight their way back up and find a way to either tie or get the win. Let's talk about tomorrow's game against the Timbers, because that's the big one. The LAFC's second biggest rival. The Timbers coming into town for the Open Cup. Random timing. I mean, the scheduling for the MLS is really weird, really messed up. It's like you have another game like what one or 2 days in between or whatever. What are your thoughts on this Timbers game? Because it's a big game. You want to continue going. LFC wants to win trophies, and you got to win tomorrow to continue that hope to win a U.S. Open Cup.
Well, yeah, I mean, on paper, the Timbers are out of the playoffs right now as it stands, and LAFC are first. So on paper, this should be an easy W, because Portland's are also missing a lot of players. But given the history, LAFC with Portland against the Timbers, it's not good. You have to really go out this game with your best team and kill them off early, because the way Philadelphia played, sitting back, waiting for LAFC, is going to be exactly what Portland is going to do tomorrow, especially with that little rest. Portland is going to sit back, wait for their one or two opportunities, and really try to punish them, in transition. And the first goal against LAFC from the Union was exactly that, just a goal, a counterattack in transition that, Dolo, I think, should be hammering in with these guys today and yesterday if they practiced, because that's how Portland loves to play. That's what Portland lives off of. And LAFC need to come in with a big dog mentality and kill this game off early, because if not, the pressure's going to mount on them, and Portland's just going to get more and more comfortable sitting back and waiting for their chance. But LAFC need to get more trophies in that trophy case, because of how big and influential this club is in MLS, and this is a great early test for the boys.
Yeah, look, and this has been Portland's DNA. They sit back. That's what as long as I've been covering the MLS, that's what I've learned about the Timbers. They just like to sit back. They're not going to pressure you. They're going to wait. They're going to want you to come to them, and then they're going to hit you on their counterattack. And yeah, and they're right. Some people talking about parking the bus with against LAFC. We've seen a custom a lot of teams. Well, this is just their DNA. We're going to see if Portland is able to get one goal or something like that. They're the type of team who would just be uncomfortable just trying to park the bus. But yeah, look, if you're LAFC, you definitely want to get the win. I just want to see how the rotation is with these guys just playing on Saturday. It's like, how many minutes is Vela going to play? How many minutes is Chicho going to play? Mahala, I'm not too worried about Mahala, because he's the youngster. but I'm assuming Danny Musovsky is going to get some time in here too, right? So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of options for LAFC, but obviously you want to get this win. You want to get the ball keep the ball rolling with this because you don't want to lose this game. So I'm pretty sure we'll see probably big minutes from Carlos Vela, Chicho, Danny Musovsky, and we'll see how that midfield really looks because there's like with this scheduling, there's very little turnover to turn around. Like I don't think 2 days rest is enough for these guys. But look, they're professionals and they're gonna have to find a way.
Yeah, and Portland also had to go to New York or played against New York, so it wasn't an easy game for them either. It's not like they're going to be fully rested either, and they have a lot of guys out on health protocol. But it doesn't really matter. Whoever plays for Portland is going to have grit, is going to have hunger, they're going to fight, they're going to be dirty. They're definitely going to foul the black and gold tomorrow. But LAFC have shown this season that they have their own attitude, they have their own personality. They're not really going to back down, accustomed to seasons past. And I think the early game this season against Portland is really going to help Dolo see how they could break down this Portland side because with not a full strength Portland's team, they're going to have I think a little bit more space and gaps that the LAFC should exploit. Now, if does Vela start, does Moose start, and Vela come in to solve this game? Does Ilie sit out and Guinella play in the midfield? That's what, like you said, that's what this we're gonna have to wait and see tomorrow. But whoever it is should be ready and should be hungry to win this Open Cup game.
Yeah, because I think to me, it's probably one of the most exciting Open Cups because usually they don't get this exciting towards more in the end stuff like that. But we saw what they did in the first U.S. Open Cup. That's gonna be completely different, obviously for this game. But yeah, that's like. But then again, this Saturday is a Saturday or Sunday when they play the Colorado Rapids. So it's another. They have what 3 games in like in a week or 8 days or whatever the number of days is. You got the Colorado Rapids coming, or you're going to Colorado, so it's like it's a really congested schedule. And look, this whole thing, I think the MLS could do probably a better job. But look, that's another discussion for another topic. But what are your thoughts on and being able to play in Colorado and all this stuff because you have to deal with the altitude and everything over there as well.
I mean, this squad is deep. It has enough depth to be able to rotate guys and not really lose the play style that Dolo intends from this team. But at the same time, you have B-Rod, Ismail, out on injury, so you don't really have that much flexibility and depth up top. You're gonna have to really use Chicho, Moose, Mahala, and Vela up top unless B-Rod and Ismail are back against Colorado. But I don't see them back against Portland, which is I think the more important game because you want to win trophies, and the Open Cup is a great trophy to have in your trophy case. But Colorado is in the altitude. They're playing better than they started. They got Josie Sardes. They have a forward now that can put goals away. So it's never an easy game up in the altitude. But regardless of that game, they should really focus on Portland and getting the 3 point or getting the win there and advancing.
Yeah, as we see in the standings, obviously LAFC in first place with 23 points. Austin, that game's coming on May 18th, so 9 days from now at the bank. That's going to be a big one. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. Obviously, the Galaxy in third place, FC Dallas in fourth place with 19 points. So the LAFC is still leading the way, which is good. That's what you want to see. Because the supporter shield is definitely another cup, another trophy that they've already won, but they'd like to win a game. So I'm very interested to see how they're able to finish out the season because there's a lot of things going. There's a lot of things in play. There's a lot of things in motion for LAFC that are really working for them, and they're a pretty exciting team to watch. And tomorrow I don't expect anything less from LAFC. Let me ask you, what more would you want to see from the black and gold?
I want to see more health. I mean, B-Rod, we really missed B-Rod in this game. I felt like he really could have broke this team down the wings with the speed and force that he has and the hunger he has this season to get on that World Cup spot for Uruguay. Ismail Tajiri Shradi, also another piece that would have added, more more speed and more danger down these wings, especially when teams sit back. The wingers are the ones that are usually the ones getting most of the touches and can be most dangerous. But I mean, like I said, we have an open DP spot, and I still think the middle is too thin. If it's not Elie, Costa, and Sifu, it's only Blessing and Janela. We don't have another full three full three rotation that we can rotate in the midfield on any given day. But besides that, it's that DP slot that we can use. I think it's a 10 would be best, regardless if it pushes Sifu out of the starting lineup, and another midfield for depth. It doesn't need to be a big player. It doesn't need to be anything crazy, but just fresh legs that you can put in the midfield, especially when the season's going to pile up like it is now, with the Open Cup and the MLS schedule.
Yeah, no, very, very, very interesting schedule. We're gonna see the depths of LAFC. I got something random that I'm gonna throw at you, JP, because yeah, I've been seeing your guy Owen Wilson just pop into being the number one LAFC fan. All of a sudden, he's definitely got into soccer. I think he was at the U.S. versus Mexico game. I think he has some type of connection with Costa or something like that. But what are your thoughts on Owen Wilson? Being a super fan, being an LAFC super fan.
Big celebrities like big good teams. So if you know, we just bring them. We just they just LAFC has a calling to them, and the celebrities and the big guys like to come to the bank. It's a spectacle. There's nothing like the 3252. The seats, right there on the sidelines are always great. An experience I think I want to have one day. Um, but I mean, I don't really think LAFC does much to bring them. They just gravitate towards LAFC and end up there. Owen Wilson is there every game, so it's not the club doing marketing or begging him. It's him out of his own will.
It's
So
out of his own will. That's a
I think
stretch. Now I would say now it's on his own will, but I
yeah.
think LAFC has done an amazing job to bring big time celebrities. And that's all it takes. Sometimes that's all it takes is one game. And I think Owen Wilson is one of those that got a glimpse, got a taste of what LAFC is doing, and now he's a super fan. And look, I can't knock that. As long as and I think that's what LAFC knows. As long as you get him in there for one game, we'll zoom into the photo you see. One game, and he's got the chain around him. He's got the chain around him. Super fan, like he's been there since the start, and I can't be mad at that. You know what I'm saying? When you got a big celebrity like Owen Wilson being there representing, I think it's I think it's a cool thing to see. A long way where this MLS league has come from, right? Granted, people don't go to the games for celebrities, but I think it's a cool thing to see when you have these stars like this. And look, I'm not really big into Owen Wilson movies or anything like that, but I like that they're able to attract these type of people and just get them into the game and the game of soccer, the game of football. And I think that's very, very, very cool. That's all I kept seeing this post, but I had to ask you, JP, because I know you're a big Owen Wilson fan.
Oh yeah, all his movies.
You
That's what I
still
grew
got
up
that
watching.
poster? You still got that poster above your bed of him?
Oh, of course. Every night, every night.
Yeah, you get out there, ask him for an autograph next time. Next time he goes to the bank, be
Might
like, "Hey,
might have to just run on the field just to say hi to him.
run
Not
up, hey,
Vela, not
not
anybody
that
else.
one.
Just him.
You won't run on the field for Vela,
Uh,
but for Owen Wilson, that's different,
yeah,
right?"
gotta do what you gotta do for your heroes.
Hey, man, look, LSU's doing two things for you. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? They got football and Owen Wilson.
How can
It's
you not love them?
there you go. But look, JP, I think that's all the time we had. We have we pretty much hit everything, covered everything. Guys, if you guys go to the game tomorrow, enjoy it. There's lots of games going on this month, so it's definitely a good month. If you haven't been to a game, definitely go out. Go to a game this month because there's going to be lots of home games, U.S. Open Cup, and obviously if LAFC wins tomorrow, they keep on moving, so that would add another game to this month. So with that said, I want to thank everybody that hopped on the live stream. For JP, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.